Hey guys, welcome back to the Tim Report. Today I had something a little bit different. I actually want to do an interview. So there is another YouTuber who has a channel very similar to mine, and he recently made a fantastic video that I really love. It went viral to an extent, and the people really enjoyed it because they just thought that it just was really accurate. This video was called Islam is a Turd, in which he pointed out the turdiness of Islam, and I think it's a very important subject, so please welcome this guy. He's also called Tim. Welcome to the Tim Report. Thank you, Tim. It's good to be here. Appreciate the opportunity. So what gave you the idea to make a video that Islam is a turd? Well, I think Islam is often obscured. It's probably because there's so many apologists always trying to say that it's kind of not shit, like it doesn't smell. But obviously, like, when you look at the root of all of these problems that are happening around the world, ISIS, Middle East, kind of like beheadings, all those kind of things, it's all because of Islam. Because the Quran is barbaric, Muhammad was a pedophile, everything about the fucking religion is awful. It's real bad. So I just thought, like, you know, therefore, Islam equals turd, basically. Very interesting, very interesting. Did you expect to get the reaction that it got? To be honest, I didn't really expect this kind of positive reaction. I think it's good because it shows that there's a lot of enlightened people out there who are really waking up to this idea that Islam is a turd. I think it's been a very difficult thing for us to discuss for a very long time. I mean, I've been an author for maybe 20 years, writing a lot of books, including Islam is shit, Muhammad is dumb, that was another one, the Quran is terrible. That was another book I had. And I've been writing for about 20 years, and, you know, I've got probably, I don't know, millions of followers. And there's lots of other people that I talk to. We have a lot of debates and discussion, a lot of online stuff going on. There's a lot of dialogue around this. But I think we're just so scared to speak out, you know. No one is willing to say after a bombing, Islam did it. They're too scared. They're too worried about that. I was actually talking to another person in one of the maybe hundreds of debates that I've had that talking about Islam was really scary, particularly for Western liberals like myself. And a lot of the audience agreed that it's real scary for me to bring up Islam. It's real hard for me to do. And in fact, I'm probably having a debate tomorrow about that. There's probably going to be about 20,000 people there, and I'm going to express to them how hard it is for me as a Western liberal to talk about Islam. So, but you've also had some pushback, is that right? Well, yeah, I mean, like, when you make a very obvious statement such as Islam being a turd, it's bizarre that people would push back against that, because I think at this point it's fairly self-evident, the turdiness of this. But yes, after I released my video, I received about 9,999 upvotes, which I was very gratified to see. I would say about 99% of the comments were like, fuck Islam, Islam's barbaric, they are savages, kill them all. These kind of like reasonable comments. And one fucking guy, one downvote, this guy basically said, I'm not sure if Islam is that much of a turd because I take issue probably with your qualifications on that. That's ridiculous. Just because I don't have qualifications doesn't mean Islam is not a turd. And I've seen this guy a lot on my channel, so I thought it was about time to block him. I just don't have time for this kind of regressive tactics of disagreeing with my assessment of the turdiness. So I banned him, and I saw him on Twitter later. I banned him. I also told all my fans to not talk to him. And hopefully we can get a 100% upvote rating on my next video. But the regressives are probably going to downvote at least twice. And that's not acceptable. Right, so what do you think of regressives? Well, look, this is a very difficult subject for me because I decided over the new year that I would stop talking about regressives. I'm tired of talking about regressives, man. When I started my original channel, the Tim Report, it was my idea to have like an open dialogue in which we can actually discuss ideas, but then these regressives came along, and they're really regressive. Like, they're really regressive. It's quite interesting. Everything they say is just, it's regressive. I don't know how else to put it. It's just really bad, and I think they're probably terrible people. Well, no, I don't really think they're terrible. It's just like, it's difficult for me to see them as not terrible because they're liars, but it's not their fault they're liars. They're just they're misguided, but they are also liars. So I think they're terrible people, but they're also okay people who are just misguided. And I don't believe in hating anyone, but it's hard for me to not hate them. I think I don't hate them, do I? And I also don't believe in smearing other people. Smearing others is what regressives do. Regressives smear. That's a regressive tactic to smear people. Regressive, 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 regressives. So has that pushback come from people that you would consider regressive? Yeah, I mean, there's probably some valid criticism somewhere of the things that I say, but it's like there's so much regressiveness in the way people push back against me. I can't find the valid criticisms, to be honest. All I can see is a sea of regressives everywhere saying regressive things. So if there was some valid criticism there, I wouldn't see it because there's too much regressiveness. That's all I can see. Yeah, exactly. Like, the interesting thing is how much we agree about it. It's really quite interesting. We kind of agree about it. Like, we agree that Islam is a turd. A smelly turd, absolutely, and we agree about this regressive thing, don't we? It's amazing that we agree on that, when only like about 95% of the people we know agree on that too. Absolutely. Like, hopefully the audience just agrees with us, and hopefully the audience agrees with each other. I think that's the most important thing about this kind of conversation. I think it's very... Also, I've heard this great new word, cuck. C-U-C-K. Some of these people are also cucks, don't forget that. Cucks disagree with us. Still not... I don't really know what cuck means, but I think we should use it. Exactly. Like, I 99% agree with you there, but like, there's 1% that occasionally, some question about. Pretty much mostly agree with you. I've found that problem a lot too. Like, when I make a video, like, people disagree with what I say, and they try to make, like, counterpoints, but they can't cover up the fact that, that's very regressive, and also the fact that they... Counterpoints. And I think I would listen to them more if they didn't lie so much and they didn't smear. Unreal. Like, what do you think of smearing people? What do you think of liars? I hate liars. I think, like, if you've smeared or lied, you're human garbage. You need to be thrown out of the debate. Now, we're not authoritarians, so we wouldn't do that in a violent manner. Exactly. Violence is for regressives. Only violence in the world is by regressives. So... I just think they should probably be blocked and never, like, allowed to talk. And I'm sick of these authoritarians. Like, authoritarians are so regressive, too. Exactly. So back to that point, why do you think that people are trying to cover up the idea that Islam's a turd? Well, I have a thought experiment around this. Like, so say that you're going to the toilet. You go to the toilet. You're doing a poo. Some of the poo gets on your leg. You walk into the living room where your whole family is gathered around watching your favorite television program, and everyone knows there's poo on your leg. You don't know because due to a childhood accident, you have no sense of smell, and everyone around you is like, he smells like poo. Honestly, he smells like poo. Well, in this analogy, the poo is Islam, and the poo is on our leg. We all have poo on our legs, and no one is willing to point it out. And do I think the entire world has a problem with their sense of smell? No. I know that that is only the person who is the main person in this analogy. And please don't take this literally. I'm not literally saying that every Muslim has a poo on their leg. But if they did have a poo on their leg, it would be Islam. And that's what I'm saying. We need to admit that we have got poos on our legs. Like, we've got poos on our legs, but it's a metaphor. So we don't actually. Right, it really stinks, doesn't it? It's quite horrible. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how shitty do you think Islam is? Well, my fans don't really know this, but I'm actually quite clued into, what do you call it? Popular culture. And there's this movie called This is Spinal Tap. I believe there's a scene where they say, he says, this one goes to 11. He's talking about an amplifier. And I believe that Islam goes to 11 in terms of being a turd. Yeah, classic film, eh? Like, to 11. Anyways, just to dispense of the analogies and all the, like, fantastical thinking for a second, I do think that if a woman in a burqa would just hear that Islam's a turd, they might finally be free of their oppressive husband who reads the Quran and sort of follows what his society does. He doesn't know Islam's a turd either. And I'm pretty sure if you just like talked to this guy in a reasonable way and said, hey buddy, your whole belief system is a turd, and I don't hate you, I just hate everything you stand for, he'd probably be like, oh, this is a very good point, mister. That's my interpretation of someone from the Middle East, by the way. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, my belief is a turd. And he'd just stop oppressing his wife. I mean, how do you think a woman in a burqa feels when you don't call her religion a turd? She feels terrible. Exactly. Well, I think what you're doing is fantastic. I really think we should get together and maybe do collaboration like Islam is a Turd Part 2. I think my audience in particular would really enjoy that. I'm pretty sure your audience would probably enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, if there's regressive pushback on this, they should probably all be blocked. What do you reckon? Yep. Right, so tell me more about that. Yep. Yes. Yep. Yes. Yep. Yes. Oh, and regressives. Well, thank you very much. This has been a very interesting conversation. Let me know what you think below. Do you agree that Islam is a turd? If you don't agree that Islam is a turd, I mean, like, then please don't leave a comment. Just get the fuck out of my YouTube.